Hey everyone, sorry for the delay. We had some car issues, so we try to get back home as soon as possible.
Hello.
With a few minutes, we'll start in a moment. Song is like a shout out to what's going on right now with the protests and COVID. We're gonna be all right. All right, so today, guys, we're gonna make this quick because I know we're a little hour behind, so I apologize for that. But today we're talking about the eighth commandment, which is do not steal. So at the end of when we get to after the 10th commandment, we'll be passing out these bookmarks. I don't know if you guys can see these, but they have the 10 commandments listed for the children to go back and know what the commandments are. So we'll be passing these out to the youth. And if you want one for your child, let us know. That's no problem. So again, today we're focusing on the 8th commandment, which is do not steal. We all know that God doesn't want us to steal from anyone because that it doesn't belong to us. So we shouldn't be stealing from anyone. How you doing, Denise? So we shouldn't be stealing from anyone. So that's his commandment for us here on this earth. If we don't steal, that's one way we can make it to heaven. So if it doesn't belong to us, we shouldn't take it. I think I learned about stealing when I was about 5 years old. I'm gonna tell you a little quick story. My grandmother and I were in there's a supermarket called Grand Central back in the day in New Haven, and they had this big bowl of peanuts, barrel peanuts, out in the produce aisle. So I would take one, but I was like, these peanuts are good. I'm gonna put them in my pocket. So I put it in my pocket, got home, and for some reason I emptied my pocket in front of my grandmother, and she was, "Oh, you're stealing peanuts." I was like, "This is stealing? I thought they were for free." So this is another reason why we want to talk about the 10 Commandments and do not steal, because as young kids, you may not know it's stealing, but then it actually is. So again, if you try to take something that doesn't belong to you, that's stealing. So what you can do is ask your parents for it, try to save up for it, so you don't have to find yourself stealing from someone because you want it and you want to take it from somebody. So my wife's going to go into what she has to talk about. Then we're going to have a quick video. Then we go back into the lesson.
Okay. Hello, everybody, once again. As my husband stated, stealing is definitely wrong. And I know that on some level we can all relate, especially when you were younger. You may have taken things and, not knew, as he stated, that it was stealing. Stealing is wrong even when we think we're stealing something for the right reason. Stealing can damage relationships. It can tear families apart. When one brother in the book of Genesis, which is the video my husband is going to show, when one brother stole from another in the story, it turned their family upside down. So my husband's going to show the video, and then we're going to come right back to the lesson.
So this video talks mainly about Esau and his brother. It referenced Genesis 27, 1 through 38. So sit back and watch this video, and we'll be back in one moment. So that was a video talking about Esau and Jacob and how the one brother stole from the other brother the father's blessings. So sometimes that can happen. Your family members may want something that you have, so they may come up with a plan. I'm gonna take it from you or whatever. So that's what happened, and those brothers they didn't speak for a long time after that happened. So that can happen too today. Family members they have beef because someone stole something from you or whatnot. So that still happens today. So God used that as a lesson to us that it happened back then, it happens now. So don't steal.
Yes, in biblical times, the oldest son in each family will receive a special blessing from his father. When Esau and Jacob were born, God told their mother that it was Jacob, not Esau, who stood to get the blessing. But Rachel and Jacob sinned, and they conspired to rob Esau of his blessing by tricking Isaac, their father. Because of his sin, Jacob had to flee for his life. Esau became very angry and wanted to kill Jacob. The two brothers remained separated for decades because of the theft. Kind of like what goes on now. Think about it. If this happened way back then, when the father would pass away, the blessing would go to the eldest son. The same thing happens even now when people lose loved ones and they're being left with an inheritance is left, because that's basically what the blessing was. It was his inheritance. When that's left, what usually happens is the family or whoever it's left to may fight or have issues over it, um, and it causes a lot of chaos in the family. So when he and it also causes family not to speak. So when he stole his brother's inheritance, the blessing, he became angry and wanted to kill him. They remained separated for a long time. It wasn't until it wasn't until Jacob came back home and saw Esau to make things right. And that's the part that a lot of us don't do. We stay angry and upset for a long time. Um, we know that we sinned. We know that we took something that didn't belong to us. If you couldn't afford it, then you should wait to get it. Um, and we need to make it right if we did, because when you steal things from people, um, you lose trust. And it also hurts, especially because a lot of people that normally steal from others are sometimes people that you know. So it hurts. So instead of stealing from people, work for it, earn the money for it if it's something that you can buy. Um, just don't take, because it's a sin. And if you want to get to heaven, you want to make sure you're doing things according to God's will and not your own.
Kia, when was the first time, or when did you learn about what stealing was?
I was 6 years old. I probably learned before then, but I was 6 years old. Um, I took candy out of this dish that my mom told me that was off limits for everybody, but I would take one at a time. So I figured she wouldn't notice that. I figured she wouldn't notice that I was taking it, but after a while of taking one at a time, the dish kind of got low. So she kind of figured it out. I won't tell you what happened after that, but I learned to keep my hands to myself and not touch anything and not touch anybody's stuff.
So again, this eighth commandment talks about do not stealing. It also goes into what's happening now. We know that Mr. Floyd died due to the police officer, and right now some people are protesting, some people are
Looting.
looting and stealing. So that's what God wants us not to do. He doesn't want us to steal from anyone.
Yeah.
If we can't get it by working or asking our parents for it, we just have to wait until we can get it. Don't take what's not yours. So
Yes.
that's one of his commandments that we do not steal. So if we keep his commandments, we will be pleasing God. And that's what he wants us to do. We'll be pleasing him and we can get to heaven and he can say, well done, my good and faithful servant. So that's the goal. We just want to make sure that we do his commandments and do our best. You don't have to steal. You steal something, it's going to make you feel bad on the inside anyway. So even if you do steal, you always have time to give it back to the person, ask them for forgiveness. I took this, I apologize. Can you forgive me? And they will, they should, because you gave it back to them. So they appreciate that.
Yeah.
But remember, the eighth commandment talks about do not steal. So please keep that in mind. If it ain't yours, don't touch it. Don't take it. It's
And I
not
just
worth
want to
it.
interject. And a lot of times people think that they're stealing for the right reason. I'm going to steal this and I'm going to give it to somebody in need. No, that's still a sin. That's not doing it for the right reason. If God intended for you to help them, he will make the means for you to get what you need to be able to help them. So don't ever think that you're taking things, for the right reasons to give to someone else, because it's still a sin.
So stealing is bad any way you look at it. Um, do not steal. That's what God says. So let's try to keep his commandments. It may be hard, depending on situation and things of that nature. But if you pray and ask God, God, I really want this. Can you make a way for me to have it? He will. So again, if it ain't yours, keep it in yourself. Don't touch it. You'll be good to go. But thank you guys for sticking with us. We will get back to you next week at regular time on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. Um, but yeah, so we out for right now. Peace out. Thank you.
Peace.